Thank you. I'm really grateful to be with you all. It feels like I've come home because I just kind of feel so connected to Carol and so many of you. I just feel like, oh, I just feel so at one with all of you. It's so great. All right. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being with us today. It is a joy to celebrate this consciousness together. My topic is wonder, wonder everywhere. So let's open our hearts and our minds to the wonders we can discover this year. And let's include the whole world in this expansive consciousness. There truly is a great power in the word. And Dr. Holmes tells us that when we are praying or treating, which is our form of affirmative prayer, we need to be direct and definite in our mental work. And we are certainly living in times when we need that consciousness, more and more of this divine consciousness that New Thought is all about. Dr. Holmes called our attention to the fact that we're dealing with intelligence. And even if this might seem obvious, we still need to work at using it intelligently, because there really is no limit to the power of your mind. There's no limit in knowing our oneness that opens the doors to right action, understanding, efficacy. It opens the doors to having a new idea come to birth. And we're on the doorstep of that. Dr. Holmes mentioned it many times, and Paramahansa Yogananda spoke deeply about the emergence of a new consciousness. And there will be challenging times, and we certainly are in that. But we want to learn to trust that there is a great vision that is pulling us into a greater awareness of the love of God and the greater awareness of the power that is within us, all around us, and working through us. So we need to breathe that into our heart. For just a second, take a deep breath and hold your hands on your heart if you choose to. And just take that in, that there's a great power for good in this universe, and we're able to use it. In fact, it's our divine design to use that. So we're just knowing that this healing that Dr. Holmes was talking about and Master was talking about, Paramahansa Yogananda, I call him Master, so if I say that, I'm talking about Paramahansa Yogananda, the great spiritual leader throughout many, many years. I'm very blessed to have both of them as my spiritual guides. And you do too. We have everything available to us. There's great wisdom on the planet. There isn't only one path. The only path is all that God is. And you have your choice to see what works best for you. Dr. Holmes said in The Science of Mind on healing, willpower has nothing to do with mental healing. It would imply that the practitioner exercises a personal thought force over the patient. That's not what we do. This is a false suggestion. It's almost something in a form of hypnotism. That's not what we do. We, knowing our oneness with God and the creative medium, the law, our spiritual mind treatments are free from any and all thoughts of control. We are simply the vehicle for the divine mind to express ourselves in us, through us, and as us. And you can do it. Everyone can do it. It's a matter of getting in attunement with the radiant consciousness of divine mind. So we make an inner commitment to nourishing a healthy perspective that takes a clear and conscious intention to open our hearts to a power much greater than ourselves, but it includes us. So it takes a deliberate attunement and personally, I know I must surrender whatever it is that might be distracting me. If I get caught up in distraction, then I'm letting something sidetrack me from divine love. and seeing and feeling the potential that is within me that emerges through me when I get out of the way of the divine circuits. And I imagine you never do that. I'm probably the only one who does something like that, right? No, the truth is we all do it. And at times I'm amazed at how precious and uniquely perfect the compassionate heart of spirit can be. And in those moments when I might have felt crabby or short-sighted only a few moments before, I will just retreat and move my feet and practice using the wisdom and the tools of what you've heard many times: ask, seek, knock. I'm asking, I'm seeking, and I'm knocking, and I'm putting this on the plate of divine consciousness. It never fails. All prayer works. And I know that it's a form of conscious and deliberate and productive thinking. And recently, my heart was always finding a way, a path to realizing that God is with me, in me, and all around me, directing me to the infinite power that is within each one of us. I was amazed at the synchronicities that we all can plug into. I stopped for just a moment while I was writing this talk, and I decided to go get a cup of yogi tea. And the kid in me really enjoyed opening the bag and said, well, what does this say today? And this is what it said. And it was so perfect because there were so many things going on in the news, and I love to be directed by spirit. And it said, be fearless, know that all will be provided at the right time. So if there's anything you're going through right now that you're having difficulty handling difficultly, or you're having struggles with, be fearless. Know that all will be provided at the right time. I love how life has a way of boosting our energy. Jesus just told us to ask, to seek, and to knock. I make a habit of that. I just really, if I see myself feeling scrambled or disoriented, I ask. And ask and it shall be given. Seek and you shall find. Knock and the door shall be open to you. It doesn't say maybe. It says it will be. So trust those principles. Look into that. I did a study of that. It's become part of me. And I really know that you can do it too, because all of us can. We've been created by the same source. So what a joy and potential good is waiting for you. What joy is handing itself to you through the difficulties and the shadows that you've been experiencing or struggling with right now. Because recently, it can hook so many of our attentions, and we have to, I've just noticed it, the energy in my friends and people, they're tired of this process. I don't blame you. I feel the same way, but we're having to deal with it still. And it's, what it's happening at the moment, it's not going to last forever. We just keep turning it over to a power greater than ourselves. A couple of days ago, I received what I felt was a perfect quote for today's talk that I was preparing. And it was written as part of a beautiful message from Jyotish from Ananda Spiritual group. And he's Ananda's spiritual leader. And it said, God is always waiting for us to make an offering. Each time we sit to meditate, the illumined mind of Christ consciousness at the spiritual eye calls us, asking us to transmute the ego into light. It's our ego that gets hooked. It's our ego that gets distracted. It's our ego that gets caught up in spiritual knots and distractions. If we're caught up in distractions like the news, the internet, with stories that drain our energy, we're spending our vital substance that can support our joy. And instead, we find ourselves enmeshed and caught up in the replays of news we all know about. They've played endlessly, and all they're supporting is the negativity that we need to let go of. We want healthy energy. We want to stop watching it over and over again. It can only cause depression and hopelessness and drain your energy. I'm not saying don't be informed. I'm saying don't let it be a compulsion. These disturbances drain us over and over again. And I feel that many of us can be so hooked to our computer and the news that I've come to realize it is exhausting my energy and my joy. So I hope you'll pause a little bit and stop that process that you keep repeating, and let's hold ourselves in our world from a much higher consciousness. I'm stepping it up this year. Join me in stepping it up this year. I want to keep lifting my vision to sporting a world that works for everyone. And I'm going to do my very best to take a greater intention into form and do my best to see it taking action and supporting others in that journey. So I know you can do it. And one of the wonderful messages from Pam, Reverend Pam, was orienting ourselves to wonder, to the wonder of divine. And I'm going to read that for you. I've modified it a little bit, but I'm sure she won't mind. The universe has so many ways to awaken us to wonder. We can find so many beautiful things like nature that are all around us. They can inspire us. We can learn to see the powerful divine inspirations through a limitless palette of expressions. I love that. I paint. I love to see the enormous color in nature. Nature is generous, and she shares her beauty and love of the beautiful earth people and so much more. It is found everywhere. God's living spirit is all around us with so many messages expressed in nature. So many of us are blessed to live in the midst of California, where nature is so expressive, unique, and colorful. I love the waterfalls close by and the lakes and the gorgeous skies. It helps us appreciate the wonder of life and the magnificence of the divine and the limitless expressions of spirit. The marvel of life in Tahoe, one of my most favorite places, and the lovely places in California, is so inspiring. It inspires me every single day, and especially in those times when I am conscious of the magnificence around me. God's love is everywhere in so many multicolored and flamboyant expressions. Nature is rich with love and vibrancy, glorious and truly wonder-filled. Wonder, the next point is wonder is a wellspring of love. And this was written by Valerie Carr. When we orient ourselves to wonder, then it becomes possible to wonder not only about ourselves and our world, but about other people and theirs as well. We begin to sense that there is a vast and complex, they are as vast and complex as we are. When we choose to wonder about people we don't know, we begin to expand a circle of those we see as part of us that we don't know yet. It draws us ever closer to empathy and compassion. And the last idea that Reverend Pam was going to share is wonder reveals oneness. Wonder reveals our oneness, our interconnectedness, our independence, interdependence. Everything began as a divine idea, and form is an expression of consciousness. Notice the interconnectedness of it all, the creativity, the beauty, the perfection. It is evident in the ancient Sanskrit truth, Tat Twam Asi, I am that. The African of philosophy, Ubuntu, says, I am because you are. So I'd like to close with a very short meditation. So if you just join me for a moment and sit still and take a gentle and deep breath. And we know that let's place all of our concerns about ourselves and our world and our preoccupations and put it on an imaginary piece of paper and placing it into the eternal flames of spirit, knowing we are releasing all our worries and our fears and putting them into the sacred fire of divine love. So take a deep breath with me and close your eyes. And if you want to, put your hands on your heart and give any and all thoughts or worries over to spirit. And please join me for a moment in the silence, realizing there is only one expansive and loving source in whom we live, move, and have our being. Spirit knows what they are for you. We only need to give them up. So take a deep breath and hold that idea for just a moment. I hope that you've been able to find some joy and peace in this time together, that somewhere in the message you were able to feel the presence of God and the love of God and the incredible presence of joy. So we know, beloved God, that you are guiding and directing our path. And we are deeply grateful for the many ways you support us and expand divine consciousness throughout our planet. Guide us into a new day, Lord. I know that you are with us all. Help us to serve more effectively. Help us to always have the resources that we need. Bless the Center for Spiritual Living, Tahoe, and with the resources she needs, and all of the community for all that they need and desire the good for all of us on this planet. We are deeply grateful. We thank you, thank you, thank you for loving us enough to guide us each day. And so it is. Amen. Amen. Amen.